Hi, welcome to D3 Off-Road. Today, Steve's going to teach me how to weld.
That's the wrong thing, babe.
You told me to get the torch.
The welder.
And we're back.
Yes, with our trailer.
Today, we are getting back to our off-road ultralight rooftop tent trailer build. This is the second episode. If you haven't seen the first one, go back. We'll make a playlist. Find it. We have the frame cut and tacked together. Today, we are going to fit the Cruisemaster Suspension and I think try and weld out the chassis, which might involve me learning how to MIG weld.
You can weld.
Okay.
You've done it.
I've TIG welded, kind of.
Don't worry so much.
I wouldn't say successfully.
You'll be fine.
Yes.
It'll be good.
Yes, but that is what the goal is for today. So if you're not familiar with Cruisemaster, they are an Australian company.
It's independent suspension, greasable, serviceable. It actually has alignment points so you can change your toe and your camber on it. Yeah, it's a coil spring and dual shock package. So in our opinion, it's the best on the market.
Yeah, that we could find.
We looked at Timbren, we looked at Circa, we looked at Cruisemaster, we looked at a bunch, and this makes the most sense because I can change out the springs with iBox springs, and once we have the vehicle or trailer outfitted with all our camping gear and all our weight, if I think that their spring, which is 425 pounds, they give you that data, if I think it's too stiff for what we're trying to do or too soft, I can swap out the springs and I can swap out their shocks for like a set of Fox shocks that I can valve and tune.
Yeah.
So the goal is to make this thing just float over the bumps so that we don't have to go like 5 miles an hour everywhere.
We want to be able to like rip down a trail if we want to. It's essentially the goal, and make it as tunable as possible. With Steve being a suspension guy, you can't cheap out and just go for a rubber block.
Yeah, like the Timbren is independent, but to me, it's literally just a bump stop. You're just squishing a bump stop. There's no damper, there's no tuning, there's no nothing. You pick the weight of your trailer and it's a thicker durometer rubber, like a stiffer rubber or a softer rubber, and that's all you get. It's like, to me, it's a cheaper price point and it makes sense to be a cheaper price point.
Yeah.
When you're building an overland trailer from scratch and you want to build it as like a higher end overland trailer, we're going to go with the best suspension that we could find. And if you guys have seen other suspensions out there that's better than the Cruisemaster, drop a link below, because we looked for a while. We've watched YouTube videos, we've asked people, we've looked around.
There's a couple other trailer companies that use their own proprietary suspension. Like they've designed it in-house and built it in-house, but obviously that isn't what we want right now. Down the road, maybe we'll consider something like that if we do another one. But for the time being, this was the best we could find. And they have this really cool hitch that you can hook up with a handbrake to these axles. And that was another reason we went for it. It's a 360 hitch, so you can flip it all the way around. It goes 360 degrees, and it has a handbrake installed in it. So when you park the axle, or when you park the trailer, you don't need to wedge it or anything. You just pull the handbrake, and it stays where you put it.
Yeah, which is pretty nice.
Yeah.
Pretty handy. And it has electric brakes built in as well. So you can hook it to a 7-pin on your Jeep or truck or Toyota, whatever, and tow it down the road and have brakes. Not that it needs brakes. The thing's going to weigh like 1,200 pounds. It doesn't need electric brakes. You probably won't use them on the street. But to have that ability camping where you're not relying on a wooden block and it like rolls down your camp at night, you can pull the e-brake to lock the brakes. Yeah,
so we're really excited about that. More stability. And yeah, the independent axles will give us way more clearance than having like a solid axle through it. So as far as if you're going over obstacles or anything, you'll have all the clearance you need. You don't need to worry about bending your axle on the trail and having to get back out. So. And
hopefully keep the camper more level over uneven terrain. One tire can go up versus the whole thing tipping with the axle back and forth. We'll see how
it'll
works,
beat the chassis up less as well. Ideally, we don't know yet. We have to, put it through its paces first. But so far, I've seen great reviews from other trailers that have this system on it. So that's what we went for.
Stuff still hangs down. You don't gain that much ground clearance going independent. You still have a big A-arm that comes down and a whole hub assembly and a spring coming down there. But I like the idea that it is independent and one tire can go over a bump and I can tune it. If you get leaf springs or the Timbren and stuff, you can't tune it.
Yeah, you're limited to tunability and what you can do with it. So
maybe one day we'll design our own and just go straight coil over, and then you can have a reservoir and a clicker and tuning and everything. We'll see.
Race trailer.
Race trailer.
Race to the campsite.
Yes.
But yeah, so now I think we're going to read over how to install this and kind of take you along for the ride. So the first task of today is what, Stephen?
We are trying to figure out where the pivot is going to land so that we know the relationship between the pivot and the tire, because it's extremely important to know where the tire, the center of the hub, is going to be in relation to the chassis for your tongue weight. So you don't want your tire bang on right in the middle of the chassis, because then when you drive, if you've ever driven with a trailer, if the tires aren't far enough back, you would have basically zero tongue weight pushing down on the hitch. So the trailer will just basically bounce on the hitch all the way down the road. And it can even get into like a dog wagging its tail and be kind of sketchy to tow down the road. It won't want to track true and track straight.
Yep.
But if we put the tires too far back, then the tongue weight would be so heavy on the back of a side-by-side, or to pick it up and move it by hand. The goal is to have about 10% of tongue weight on the trailer is what I would like. So if the trailer, for argument's sake, was 1,200 pounds loaded, 10% tongue weight would be 120 pounds.
Which is very manageable.
And most people could grab that tongue at 120 pounds and use a bit of muscle and lift it up and wheel the trailer around. But if the axle was 6 inches further back, that 10% might go to 20%. So then you're at a couple hundred pounds, and then it wouldn't be manageable. So before we weld the cross members in and weld this Cruisemaster pivot block in, we really need to figure out where the tire, the center point of the tire, so basically the center of the hub, is going to land in relationship to the tongue on the trailer and the overall length of the trailer. Because another thing we're trying to consider is in CAD we drew it with a 30, I think it was a 33-inch tire.
Yep.
And the the departure angle on the tire matched this kick up on the chassis.
Yeah, it
so
was
we want the
perfect.
tire to land in line with the chassis so we can come down over things. But we also have to do the math to figure out that that's going to give us the amount of tongue weight that we want. Since this is our prototype and our first trailer, we might end up changing the length of the tongue or moving the axle. So we're just trying to really think of everything now before we start burning metal down into this.
Yeah.
And then regret where we put things
And then you have to cut everything back out.
Yeah. The distance.
Now that these are tacked on where we think we want them, I think the next goal is to set the spring saddle thing. Is that what it's called, spring saddle?
Yeah.
Sure.
Sure.
Sweet.
Spring mount, spring
Spring
saddle,
mount,
whatever.
spring mount.
Same thing.
Yep.
Coil mount,
Yep.
324 millimeters is where it needs to go.
From where to where?
From this surface to the front of it.
To, oh, like this part here? Yeah. So these axle systems suggest that you have a 4-inch frame. We do not, we have a 3-inch frame.
Yeah.
So Steve's using the spacer that he had already made up, and we're gonna run with that.
It's not quite the same, but
It's pretty close.
it'll work.
Yep.
For if you're doing a flat floor, it wouldn't work, but
We're not doing a flat floor.
we're not doing a flat floor.
So, easy peasy lemon squeezy.
That's all I know.
So you got it all tacked in. What's next, boss?
I don't know. I think it just has to be assembled. And I'll just got to work out in.
This has to be like 50 pounds. It is heavy.
Probably more than 50 pounds.
At least 50 pounds. It is stout. I will tell you that for free.
So it comes with these rubber bump stops.
Yep.
They sit on there and one sits on the other. There's another one here.
Yeah, the spring goes in here.
And then this big bolt, cam bolt for your alignment with some bushings.
So does
Goes
this
through
go in
there.
here? Go in
Yeah.
here? So you
And the
put
bushings
this
go in
on
there.
first, and then,
And we got to put these bushings in that, and then we got to put the bolt through.
and does this go to the outside or
And then
the
there's some
inside?
hardware. I have to look at the drawing, I don't know.
Okay.
Now that's got to be lifted into there.
Jesus. Got that bolt in.
Holy!
And we'll see if the spring fits. See if we did this right. That looks good.
It's perfection.
First try.
Let's go riding.
Yeah. So now we figured out that we won't really be able to flip this over well once this is on there.
We'll have to use a forklift.
Yeah, so I think it might be take that axle back out, that A-frame axle back out, and then weld in that, and then flip it over and put it back in.
Flip the frame over.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. But now that we know it fits, you can just pretty much weld out the whole bottom.
Might as well weld the whole chassis
Yeah,
now.
and then flip it over and weld the top.
Now that everything's tacked in,
yeah.
weld everything.
Yep.
Grind anything we want to grind so it's smooth and looks pretty.
Yep.
Then flip it.
Yep.
And then weld everything. And then at that point, pretty much paint it.
Yeah.
You can take it outside, paint it.
Yeah.
We're gonna use Steel-It paint on this. It's the same stuff that we put on like the Jeeps, the gray and the black on that Jeep over there.
Yep.
It's stainless steel powder ground up in a can. It's really nice. And for this chassis, I chose to do that because you can weld over it. It's like it's designed for race cars so that you can fix when you crash and you dent tubes
On
and
the
stuff.
fly, yeah.
But because this is our prototype, we don't know until we use this thing if we're going to want to add a toe point or a hook or change or whatever we want to do. There's no point in sending this for powder coating. What I'm thinking for production would be like a hot dip galvanize over the steel, and then the rest of the trailer is aluminum, so it'll get either powder coated or vinyl wrapped. But the frame, you don't want it to rust. So.
No.
But prototype, we'll shoot it with Steel-It, and then since it's ours, if we're gonna change things as we go over the next year or two, it's easy to change.
Yes. So we'll weld out the bottom. Well, first we'll test fit this one, though I'm sure if that one fits, this one will fit. Weld out the bottom, flip her over, and then weld out the top and put it all back together. And then we got a roller.
So you get to weld now.
Oh boy, this should be entertaining. I mean, I haven't even tacked anything yet. Shouldn't I tack something first?
Yeah, okay, we can start with that. The basics.
Yeah, exactly. That's how I felt.
I just lost the nut, it rolled over there.
Here, you lift it into place this time, I'll put the bolt in.
God damn it. I know.
Needs to
Too
come
high.
down, yeah. Oh.
It's in? There.
Yay, we did it.
Independent suspension.
Wow. So that's what she looks like upside down. Looking good, babe, looking good.
Somehow this thing, oh, I see how it works.
Oh.
See, it's oblonged. So that changes your toe
Oh.
in and out so we can dial in the alignment
Sweet.
so we can go fast.
Wow.
We're gonna go so fast.
We go so fast.
You getting your PPE on?
Yeah.
You're gonna weld.
I'm gonna try. We'll see what happens.
We got her some scrap pieces here to learn. She wants to tack first.
Yeah, I have no idea what I'm doing. He's had me, years ago, we were gonna build me an Ultra 4 car, and you had me learn some TIG welding then.
Yep.
I melted most of the base metal away.
You did great.
So apparently MIG is easier. I don't know why we didn't start with that.
Well, it's harder to make a sound weld. It's easier to put metal down.
Oh.
People think it's a good weld because it looks okay, but it's actually got no penetration.
Oh. Okay, so Steve's gonna teach me the basics.
Yep.
And I'm gonna try and weld this thing together.
Okay, put your hood on.
Oh God.
Grab the whip.
Will this work with my bun?
Probably not.
Okay.
So when you pull the trigger, the wire comes out the end, and when you let go of the trigger, the wire stops coming out the end.
So it's like an auto feed, whereas TIG you're
Yes.
feeding it. Okay.
Yeah. So you
Is
have
that
to
all I need to know?
basically
I touch this to the metal. I go like that.
no. The gun stays back about 3/4 of an inch, and the
Oh, and
wire
it feeds out. Sorry.
the wire will
Welding
touch.
101.
Yeah. The wire will dead short against the material, like it's touching the ground clamp, creating a circuit.
Okay.
And as it's coming out, because it's set to a speed, it's going to melt.
I hope you guys are enjoying this. Let's see what happens.
Put a tack on the end.
Oh, this is scary.
And
So you
keep
said
it
about 3/4 of an inch?
roughly a little more, there you go, right around there.
Oh.
You gotta go longer.
Oh, yeah, I see now. Oh.
Longer. That's pretty quick. There you go.
Oh,
And
I
now
see.
Do the other end. Yeah. Okay.
More?
Is it? I can't see it yet. I haven't looked. Yeah, you need to kind of wiggle it up and down so it touches both pieces of material.
Okay.
And you need to steady yourself because you need to have one hand touching the table or something so you're not like shaking and moving. And I can't hold this camera and do this at the same time. Okay, I put the camera down to put a helmet on and help her and talk to her as she was doing it.
Yeah.
And she's made some headway.
Yes. So that was Steve's. He was doing it and I was watching. And that was my first attempt after him showing me what to do. And then this was my next one. And it's not terrible.
It's very good.
Yeah.
For someone who's never MIG welded in her entire life.
Yeah, he's a
You've
good
welded
teacher.
2 inches and you're making progress.
Yes. So I'm learning.
Yeah.
It looks like it could still be closer to the center portion there, like the meeting point, but
That's called the root.
the root. I need to be more at the root of the weld
Yes,
and make it more sticky, more glued together.
that's right. Glue and metal.
So yeah, I don't know how much of this I'll actually do, but I'll try.
Yeah, you can weld some stuff.
Wow.
I think it's time for you to weld on the frame. You can do it. You can do that weld right there. Put the gun straight down. Zzz.
And just fill her up. The good thing is if I screw this up, he can just go over it and fix it.
That's right.
Yeah.
That's the thing about welding. If it's no good, you grind it down and you weld it again.
Wow.
Unlike carpentry, if you cut the wood wrong, there's no stretcher and you can't weld it back together.
This is scary. So just straight down like that?
You got her.
I couldn't see where I was on the weld, like how much pipe I had left.
Okay, you need to move your head then so that you can see past the gun and the wire and everything. You need to see where you're going and what is being filled up and where the end is.
So kind of from the side?
Yeah.
Okay.
Put your head right down beside it so you can see through. Yeah. So that happened. That happens when the wire lands on a piece of silica glass on the crater. It doesn't short circuit and it just kind of
So I need to go above the weld, like
No,
before
you
it?
just need to trim the wire and go again. It just happens. It's no big deal.
Is there a way to make the helmet so it stays up?
It's too old and all the locking mechanism on it is worn out. That's my biggest complaint with the ESAB mask. I love the helmet, but I need a headset.
Oh,
Can't do anything about it now.
he's giving me his old broken shit. See how much he cares?
Yeah. Talking shit.
Still feel like I can't really see. That's too thick, isn't it?
Good enough. No, that's fine.
Oh, it
It's
looks
good weld.
It looks high.
That doesn't matter.
Oh.
There's nothing going there.
You think it's stout?
Yep.
Why does it look smoky?
Because it was hot.
Oh. Okay. I welded on our frame.
Yeah, you can
I'm
do
a
the next one.
fabricator.
Do that one there. You're killing it. Look at all these welds you're doing.
I'm getting better. It's
Yeah.
not terrible, and that's what I'm happy about.
Oh, it's perfect. It's perfect. You'll be proud. You can point at that when people ask in the parking lots.
Like, I did that.
So this one has a little bit of a gap in the fit up. Now
Yeah.
ask how's she gonna tackle that. So you're gonna focus the heat and tip the gun a bit on an angle and focus it on this.
Yep.
Since it's beveled, this will
Okay.
burn in really easy.
So you fill the puddle till it touches that base
And
material.
you can bring the weld across every once in a while and like kind of tap that side to pull. It's called the surface tension. So when the metal is a liquid state, it's under tension,
Yeah.
and you can draw it and like drag it kind of where you want. So you can start
You're, like,
here
manipulating the
and
puddle?
manipulate the puddle over. Yeah.
Okay. We'll
Just
see.
don't spend a lot of time on the bevel because it's
So
thin
it's like,
and it'll
it's
blow
like
a hole.
1, 2, 1, 1, 2, 1
Yeah.
kind of idea. It's kind of like a two-step or a waltz.
Yep,
Cool.
exactly.
Neat.
When I learned how to weld, I counted in my head to make dimes.
Ah.
1 Mississippi, 2 Mississippi, 1 Mississippi, 2, and you match until it becomes
Yeah.
a muscle memory.
Neat. See what happens. Nope.
You caught it though, it almost went through.
Nope. That is definitely more difficult. I'm getting there,
You're
though.
getting there, you're getting there. You didn't blow a hole in it. It's
I
just
didn't.
when the wire fell in that root
Yeah.
gap, it makes that hollow
sound.
and then you need to quickly catch it and bring it back onto this.
Yeah.
And get the puddle to keep going.
Cool.
Yeah.
All right, let's try this again.
That sounds good.
Did I get to the end? I'm still learning when to see.
Look
Look at that! Oh my goodness, I did it!
That's a good weld.
Wow. If I can do it, you can do it. Build a trailer.
That's right. So we swapped helmets for Mel. She was using my older E-sub. It's got a wrap on it. And the mechanism's tired on it, so it doesn't stay up now. So I gave her my new, the A60 E-sub mask. It's got a bigger field of view, a bigger window. And the headset actually works good still. So let's see what her thoughts are when she's done this weld here. Well, what do you think of that mask?
I like it.
Is it different?
Yeah, but I feel like I can actually see what I'm doing. I don't know what the difference is really, but I feel like I can actually see better. Like, look at that. I did pretty good.
Oh my, it's perfect. Oh, the camera won't focus. It's focusing on your legs. There we go. Look at those dimes.
It's pretty good.
Yeah, no swearing for the children.
It's pretty darn good.
It's perfect. Now come do it again
Wow.
on this side. Bounce around.
The only other thing, if you're gonna hire me, we need some AC in the shop. I am sweating so bad under this jacket.
That's me every day.
Darn. No wonder
Yeah.
you always stink.
Yeah,
I'm just kidding, he never stinks.
she's been doing good, guys. Look at that. For someone's first time welding, she's killing it. We're back. Mel just made some pizza.
We had a little break, and now we are going to get back to it. But before we did that, I wanted to talk about this really cool new sponsor that we have with the channel, Athletic Brewing Company. They are a craft non-alcoholic beer company. So if you've ever had non-alcoholic beer, it just kind of tastes like hoppy water. Like someone took like the last sip of your beer and added water to it for the most part. It's disgusting. It's terrible. Recently, I found this at a Sobeys near me, bought a couple cases. We've been drinking it for the past couple months. And honestly, I wouldn't be able to tell the difference between like this hazy craft beer and another hazy craft beer. It is so good. And you don't always want to, get turned by 12 on a Saturday, right? So sometimes you just want to like have a beer on a nice hot day and chill. So I find this really gives you that relief you're looking for from a beer on like a nice hot day, but without the alcohol effect. So you're saving your liver a little bit, but you still get to enjoy a beer. So you'll probably see us drinking these in a lot of videos from now on. They are delicious. My favorite is the Free Wave Hazy IPA, and Steve's been drinking the Upside Dawn Blonde. So if you haven't tried it,
It's really, really good.
if you haven't tried it and you're a beer fan, definitely check it out. athleticbrewingcompany.com or .ca. They are American and Canadian, brewed in the United States. And you can go and use the code D320 for 20% off your first order. So yeah, give it a try if you haven't yet. So I'm gonna keep welding this frame up, and Steve is going to paint these. We're gonna go with a Steel It Gray on them.
Yeah, might as well do something.
Yeah, instead of just watching me. Do something helpful, would you?
Yeah, be useful.
So I've handed the torch back to Steve for the more important stuff. He's gonna do, ooh, those hips. He's gonna do the suspension and the tongue because you don't really want the welds to crack there.
Well, they probably will now that I'm doing it.
Okay, have you seen my welds? Yours look like a freaking robot. Where is it? Where'd it go? This one. Let's say this one, okay? You got that bad boy right there. And you
What,
got-
bad boy?
Where's mine?
Bad boy?
I think that's mine in there. Freaking robot this boy is. This baby right here will take you anywhere you want to go. Like a
Look at
used
you,
car.
you look like a welder.
Am I filthy?
Look at all the dirt on your face.
Now I know why you're always disgusting at the end of the day.
It's tough.
Yeah.
It's tough being blue collar.
Yeah.
Dirty hands.
So I welded most of the chassis up. Steve did the suspension. I did some of the tongue. You let me do the tongue. You let me do some of the important parts.
She did some good welds.
Yeah,
I don't
so
know. Maybe you can tell whose are whose. That's probably hers. Those are probably hers.
yeah, don't look at the ones that I started with.
I think these are hers. She did good.
Yeah.
She
So
did good.
We got it welded up, and now we get to put the axles back on it and put some Jeep winter tires on it, and it's a roller.
That's good.
Ooh.
Use your muscles and get her in there.
There we go. Drop. One done.
I'm glad I got the easy job.
All right, one more, darling.
Grr.
Get her up there. There you go. That's gooder. All right, well, the camera ran out of memory and we didn't notice. So we got the suspension on and we got the winter tires out of storage for my Grand Cherokee.
Well, I got one so far.
Well, he got one
In case
so
it
far.
doesn't fit.
Yeah,
I gotta lift them off the walls. It's a lot of work.
yeah. So he needs to lift it and I need to put the tire on and then we need to get the second shock on because the front one fits well with no weight on. But the back one, the axle's too low. I mean, theoretically you could, oh yeah, the tire needs to be on it. You can push it down so I can get the shock on. Okay.
You get it.
I get her.
You understood things.
So yep, it's on. This is how she's looking.
I'm ready. Lift. Okay.
It's on?
Well, yeah, I gotta do up the nuts.
Oh, okay.
Well,
What a gentleman.
I hiccuped and I went in the reverse.
How did you hiccup in reverse?
I don't know. It hurt though.
Okay.
Oh God.
Get the damn tire
What's
on.
wrong with me?
More than I can say.
Lift. Grr. More. More. Okay. It's on.
Are you sure? Because the jack stand's not really under it.
I'm sure.
So we're gonna weigh this bad boy now. Steve's got these cool corner scales with digital readout, which is sweet. We used a lot for the side-by-side stuff. What's your guess? What's the tongue weight?
20.
20 pounds?
Yeah. Which, if it's a 200-pound chassis,
Okay, okay. Oh, almost dropped it. I'm gonna go 30 just to argue with you.
oh, sounds like you.
We gotta have differing opinions, but yeah, I think like between 20 and 30.
to tear it though,
Okay.
because it's going to say the jack weighs 13 pounds.
Okay.
So we'll tear it. What was your guess?
I said between, I'm going to argue with you and say 30.
You're
30!
You win! You're so smart.
I'm so smart. I mean, I lift weights every day. You'd think I kind of know what 30 pounds feels like. So yeah, that's not bad.
That's probably, now we'll put 2 scales under there, and it'll tell us the grand total at the bottom. It'll add up all 3, and then we'll know if this is set at 10% of the thing. Then we'll see how bad our math was.
Yeah.
Okay.
And then set her down.
Now see what the total says.
All right. Wait, don't look.
Oh! This is also the tires.
Yes, so this is,
Each tire is probably like, 70 pounds or 60 pounds. I don't know what those Jeep tires weigh. We could weigh one, but
but it's pointless.
say,
So the chassis with the tires, axles, suspension.
yeah.
Yeah. What do you think it is?
Well, I already saw it. So.
Oh, darn it. I have no idea.
Well, what's your guess? Oh, you already.
Da-da-da. 492. So we're a little less, quite a bit less than 10% tongue weight, but that's without the cooler on it. That is without the water in the back.
There's gonna be a battery here. There's gonna be propane.
Yeah. So that number is going to change completely.
Yeah, it's like 5%.
Yeah. Well, once we have everything else on, it might be different. But we got some freaking progress in today, bud.
That's heavy. 490?
Yeah. Practically 500.
Well, no, because by the time we put all the aluminum on, I think it's still gonna weigh under 1,000 pounds.
Oh, yeah. Dry. Under 1,000 pounds
Because
dry.
We're gonna have a full length of this 1.5.
Yep.
Which I think is like 30 or 40 pounds.
Just start piling it up.
What's it weigh now?
We are at, that's like 20 pounds.
So, you could say 4 of those.
So like 100 pounds, say, overestimate.
And then all the sheets
Yep.
of 065.
Yep, and hinges and,
Yeah, I think it's gonna weigh in right around 1,000 pounds.
yeah, not bad.
It beats the goal.
Yep.
All the other ones are like 2,300 or.
Yeah, all the other ones are pretty heavy, so that is pretty cool. Not too shabby. We did a lot of good work today.
Indeed.
Yes,
You were a good welder.
thank you so much.
First
I'm
time.
amazed I did some okay work. I'm pretty pumped about that.
It's beautiful.
Yeah. So
Beautiful.
I need a shower,
Me too.
and
Dixie misses us.
Dixie misses us. So we're gonna go and see the dog, roll this outside for now. I think next video we'll be putting on the hitch assembly and starting on the box, which is so exciting.
Yes.
That's like halfway there.
Yeah.
Yeah,
It'll go pretty quick.
yeah.
A lot of stuff I'm gonna draw and have a laser cut, so it's gonna bolt together. So we'll literally just start slapping pieces on. So the whole aluminum structure is gonna be bolted to this structure. So we have to drill holes in this and put what's called a riv nut. It's like a nut that you squish and it grabs onto this, and then you just put your bolt in. We don't have to hold it. So we'll put a bunch of those in, and then we'll just bolt the whole top structure to keep the dissimilar metals separate so that they don't corrode. And the second kind of theory behind it is if it's an off-road trailer, it could roll. You could crash it.
Yeah.
So if the top structure is removable via bolts, you could order it as a sub-assembly from us and just bolt it on in your driveway.
Yeah.
And put a whole new top on, because you're not going to damage the chassis. The chassis will be fine. So it's kind of like make it rebuildable, repairable by anyone, make it quick and easy to put together, and lightweight.
Yeah. So that will be the next video. So stay tuned. If you liked it, subscribe. There is going to be a whole playlist for these videos, so if you want to binge watch it, you are more than welcome to. Yeah, for now,